Castle Rock, dangled our feet against the lights of the city, wept for the adults our parents could no longer be, resurrected. When the tumor exploded, my mother, the nurse, vomited. You stepped into the pool of blood and left little red paw prints, almost adorable. I cried as my sister handed me you bandages. I rinsed the mop and counted the different shades of red, orange and black, all at once, texture like honey. You survived 3 more days, slept over Juanito's Super Mario blanket. The smell of animal and disease always present. I asked you if love was always like this, so rooted in the body, and you sighed a quiet sigh. Together we waited for the blood to turn brown. Dad dug into the fresh dirt, and the crow stood still as we lowered you into the earth. Dad's first girlfriend didn't believe him when he told her the moon affects the tides, so he broke up with her. Married my mom instead, whose period is synced with the full moon, and now mine too. So much so that under its glow I can feel the blood inside me swell, trying to escape me. When I can't sleep, I imagine the red splattered across the sky. Reminds me of my nana who told me childbirth pain is women's ode to God. Oh, my unraveling, how I crave habit, even one of violence, red as refrain, blood as touchstone, this gentle mutilation of a body, a painting carved by generations. Long and bright against our young thighs. He did not show his face, but he left scratches. My primas and I, we met the devil before we were even 15. Back then, Carolina laments, an encounter with the devil meant something. Today, the kids laugh at him. They do not understand our scars. We were nourished by the blood of Christ, taught to feed off his thorns, still embedded deep in his temples. My sins are so bright, they sing. Even under dark garments and through the congressional, the priest can smell my torment. Can't distinguish my sin from my worship. Liposuction. Mama says she did regret the surgery, but only for a moment. After the first night, when she lay sticky against the sheets, the holes through which they sucked the fat were bleeding, pores pulsing with pain. I want to tell her about the first night I hurt myself. The endorphins of self-harm, mama, under patriarchy, can violence to the body be an act of survival. Every summer, on family vacations, my mom and tias made my primas and I drink from the ocean so that our bellies, fat and soft, could learn since then the sting of the water, the bitterness of motherhood. When we go back to the water, Diana confesses that she's been dreaming of children, her children, thinks they're trying to protect her, even though unborn. Do you need a body to protect another? My mother's body has changed the most throughout the years. When we watch old home videos, she complains about her size, but what surprises me the most is the powerful grip of my toddler fingers, shrill mermaid screaming, "Mommy!" Now, all the cousins are grown and unmarried and childless, except for Alfonsito, who serenades Kino Bay with his drunken calls to his still missing son. When he wakes, his skin is blistered from falling asleep in the open sea, and we laugh. In the news, a deer, pregnant and swimming, searching for an island in which to give birth safely. The red of her body mixing with the salt of the sea. If you are both victim and aggressor, does the trauma cancel out? Who do you forgive? Can you be sorry? Who should you be afraid of? Who gets to be angry? Who deserves joy? How long do you have to be guilty? How long until you can trust yourself? Should you trust yourself? How can you protect yourself from yourself? How do you understand yourself? All of yourself, even the violence, especially the violence. Do you believe yourself when you tell yourself you were just trying to protect yourself? If you do it right, pain will let you blossom, but the soft discipline of self-love is so hard to conquer. Who decides when enough is enough? How hard is too hard? What amount of pain do I deserve? Tequila, stem of agave, sprouting from all of our stomachs. As children, we ran under the table as our tios and tias drank. Childhood song their laughter. Now we sit with them. One day, it'll be just us primos, and then of course, none of us. When I picture our children, their teeth are not their teeth, but my parents. Will they know? We've inherited everything. The warmth in our bellies, the shape of our laughter. To Eva. Blessed goddess of divine sin, original and eternal, she sucked the divinity from our body, instead gave us flesh. God might have created man, but she blessed the naked body. When Adam first saw her, it wasn't shame he felt, but humility. He bowed down to her, recognized the power of his body reflected on hers. God might be beautiful in a divine sort of way, but isn't there a tenderness in the sin of humanity, in our love of sex? We're willing to give up paradise for it, for each other. Is sex not the best form of protest? Eve did not manipulate Adam. She did not trick him. He chose her over God. blasphemous goddess of those of us who were rejected by God. Bless our bodies with your poison. I do not want the blood of Christ. I want Eva, an eternity with her name on my lips. Your guilty pleasure is to see immigrants suffering. You want tragedy served in a platter so you can cry injustice and savor the words in your mouth. Fetish. Fuck that. If you want to taste words, then learn to pronounce my name. Paola, with all its tender curves. If you want a story, then let me tell you about the first time I fucked on American soil. Monday morning fucking brown bodies colliding back of an old Chevy 10 miles north. Border patrols mistook my name in his mouth for cries and tried to stop us, but we came before they did, staking our claim in America. La Virgen, María y el tío Sam lloraron, otra niña perdida. But you don't get my tears. Watch me use your country as playground and hear me moan. Hear me moan. Scorching and sex-infested, heaven is self-destructive. It's ignoring responsibilities and all sense of sensibility. It's letting insects suck the sapphires from my bloodstreams. Paradise is worshiping snakes, corrosion of the soul, and yet sanctuary. And this will be the last poem. Marriage song. I do not know what it means to be husband and wife, much less under the eyes of God. But I do know what it's like to fall asleep watching the landscape of your body, the steadiness of desire, the ease in sharing nightmares. Your mother haunts us both now. Her long brown hair loops around our limbs, tangled. Branch of ocotillo, bleeding pulp, candy we devour.
Thank you, Paola. That was amazing.
Wow.
Ooh, sorry. Our next poet is Moly Wood.
Hey. Guys, I don't know what to read for you tonight. There's so many good options. But I'm going to start with one that I did when I got back today, just because I went to go into the book, and then I went, what if I wrote instead? Have you been practicing finding beauty? Intentionally taking a moment to admire what surrounds? Have you noticed repeated patterns? How rival coral colonies mimic crystal and mineral aggregate? Spotted similarities between a tree's bark and your own stretch marks? Or how wood grain resembles muscle, resembles striations of a sheer cliff face? Have you been practicing? Admiring and acknowledging artistry of street graffiti as humble and true mark of humanity as our modern cave painting? Have you ever wondered at what point such marks first became a crime? Why did we agree to the suppression of folk art? Have you been practicing going against the status quo, tried adding color to the various shades of tan, cream, and beige, stitching life back into what you can? Did you know that you could? Do you know that you can? Do you Have you been practicing living beyond what seems to be a larger system of plans? This is what it's like to feel everything at once. Wake up. Ready to self-assess. What are the day's tasks? What comforts are prepared for the checkpoints? What anchor to follow the line through? Air sits light and clear across the chest, crystalline and icy through the nose. This does not even account for the emotions. What's a little more when carrying grief in weighted joints while joy lives in fingertips reached high, dancing in the breeze, tension in the high wire, focus taut down the spine, relief in expanding lungs, rolled shoulders. It's all so bright. It's always all at once, balancing all the physical sensations of existing, balancing everything, taking note on what stands out, these new aches and where they come from. Listen to the flowers. Understand how the words bloom. They'll explain love and persistence, demonstrate perseverance, and teach you devotion gently with beauty, a fragile, soft explosion, frozen. Put wildflowers in the wine and drink down the meadow in the same sunlight. Let it all sink in, radiant, warm, and comfortable. Bask in the golden glow. Savor the richness, a technicolor dream alive in the cycle of wishing. There are clocks all around, and their ticks aren't in sync. Their talks are just echoes of each other that reverberate off the walls. Silence would be better than this back and forth. Yet the quiet one, the bright one, is running 5 minutes behind. At least the silence is measurable while thoughts are weighed, frozen and anxious between presenting reality as it is or could be a debate towards mentioning a future if it would even work to soothe a present pain of loneliness. The moments march on in agony, selfish. Already this present is less silent, where previous loneliness and hurt has been swapped with longing and hope. Silence ticks long into the night, talks reaching out for another, as the silence weighs heavy even when it could so easily break freely. It sighs back together, only because how could they? Only because how cold the air is, with how dry it's been. Silence could drip crimson, turn the talk of the clock's dread as the ticks carry on what should be in bed. Jen, should I do hope? No. This vessel of hope is top of the line. Beyond hope, a previous descriptive measure, further than getting back up in a street fight, some dirt and scuffed knees is their earliest expertise. This hope shifts through old wounds as delicate treasure to see a tragedy from half a life back made right. This hope carries a spear through their chest, has exit wounds. It bleeds. This hope wishes they could forget the lessons of Icarus, wishes they never learned how good it feels to soar. This vessel of hope is self-soothing. It breathes. This vessel carries grief as a history that repeats. This vessel is of anxiety that they'll fail this lesson again. Hope cannot go on with this much alone as it has all along, as this vessel still wishes for hope in all life's features. It still stands for it to at least be all right. This vessel of hope is strong enough to care. Please see they're cared for too, as they have work to do. Whew. Not my movie tickets. That's fine. I'll pick it up next time. You guys want to learn how to crochet really fast? Okay, so starting with a slip knot, yarn over and pull through. Chain 36, yarn over and pull through 36 times. Turn, and that's how it goes. Row after row, as easy as breathing. After some time, yarn over and pull through. The world is in tangles and still we yarn over. We come together to yarn about it, practicing the material craft, now material hobby, and still, like those before us still, we yarn over to pull through. I have taken the oath of the dandelion. They're the pinnacle example of continued existence despite ample resistance. Hardy bounty still thrives in arid nutrition. So cherished, we built a practice of wishes, because who doesn't make a wish when it's with a kiss and a breath? I look to the dandelion and I know there's still hope. Their order of chaotic persistence to carry on, carry what it can just because it can, a silly but valuable teacher. I live by the dandelion, for where they are I know there is life. And the dandelion lives by life, a symbol of life, so devoted to living the lines blur, a different beacon in the dark. This is called Maslow's diner. There are two things that I seek to be fulfilled within my hierarchy of needs. The first is quite simple, but there are specifics. A side of 1/4 inch thick cut sliced garden tomatoes. Preferably that juicy but firm type, not messy, and you feel a little sophisticated while you're masticating on an easy delicacy where the art lies in finding one that's just shy of being just right. Brought further towards flavor mastery with an intentional addition of salt and pepper. Set, matched with, accompanied by a grilled cheese. Made with standard thickness, extra fluffy, fresh white bread toasted to perfection to a lush, rich, golden brown for such decadence, an even heated pan. Importantly, more butter. When you know you're there, flip. Now here's where I know I can aim higher, but this from young summers with somehow both grandmothers. For cheese, I'm so okay with American. Just one personal, new generational, let's be real, conditional, additional slice, if you would please. Believe you me, that task is specific, but so due to personal quest, history, but it's been quite a while, almost a different life, certainly a different cycle, less defined style. But still, from self-love, a minimum that carried me for miles. On to the other, simpler need from my list. Oh, how I crave to be kissed. My sandwich, a show, display of skill and love I'm happy to keep giving, but a kiss is not something I can do without another. A kiss to me, a signal to keep living. It really can just be whatever, however, whenever, and a greeting. Good luck to a meeting, as long as we're agreeing to our own comforts and its meaning. A kiss to send me off to go further as I chart the unknowns. A kiss just to say we're currently okay, that we've made it through another day. But as for tomorrow, who's to say? A kiss acting as a wish, just looking to persist. It's just a kiss. It's all coming down to some grilled cheese and a kiss. I mean, of course it is. So only natural to desire sustenance and crave assurance in the face of resistance, and maybe is more complex. What I seek from a kiss is to seal your wish, your dreams to reality. Set me to a quest, lift some burden from your chest. I'd be your tactician, magician, to help your goals rendition, a tool for you to use with care, a guide away from despair, trust in my duality, to be realistic when something won't stick, that I'll call it out and confront it and help figure out a new path to make the gears tick. The kiss can be an inquiry, a reliance on my memory. Summon me to be present. Hold your breath, my action will be absent. Allow me to share in your dreams. Don't worry, I'll find and fit mine in between. Exhale and lay your wish upon me. Everyone else something crazy? I got my sandwich. And then because I got my sandwich, I had to write about it. And that'll be my last one for real. You made me a sandwich. You made me the sandwich. So humble and so right to be sure that I was writing on it. Well, not then, but of course I would be. It's just a grilled cheese. How can anyone mess up a grilled cheese? Says a master artist. To the craft. Acknowledge the tools and materials, sure, but by your hand, with such care, you casually built a bridge, connection established to matriarchal roots, and it was perfect. Even for the fact of making do with what was on hand. It was perfect and better for it. You gave me the sandwich and that was everything. You made me the sandwich and said you could do more.
Thank you, Molly. That was wonderful. So now we have the open mic, and I believe Ash Hooke is up first,
And I signed up at second.
and Maryrose Larkin is second. So, and I'll just remember your third. All right. So welcome, Ash Hooke.
I also would live on grilled cheese and kisses. All right, I'm doing new shit.
New
shit. Yeah. This first one's called I'll Have a Blue Christmas Without You. And the sea is blue because the sky is blue, like I am blue too. What is duty-free humanity? How much can be saved? Like, when can I just stop worrying about everyone else? The ocean flows along the boat edge, the ship, my mistake. And the sea is blue because the sky is blue, like how dense ice can be blue. Blue packed into skin like needles moving in tight oval formations, like blood and ink pooling, my heart circling thick like tornado eddies, trying to make them happy, me alone in the eye. And the sea is blue because the sky is blue, like red blue blood before oxygen. The blue whale on my chest sings an iceberg song, asks me about my new tattoos as she breathes during the bridge. I tell her about love, the shattered chair in 10 years, gasping, unfathomed. And the sea is blue because the sky is blue, like Charlie XCX's perfect blue. If I prayed to anyone again for them, it would only be Gaia or maybe the Buddy Christ. Faith is a funny thing, staring from a movie poster explaining what dogma means to my woke, broken, blue brain. And the sea is blue because the sky is blue, like the space marble earth is blue. And I am blue with you, too. This one's called Who's Lost? Dearest Artie, Aurora's been dead for 3 years, 2 months, 2 weeks, and 3 days. And I thought, as I made a grief zine about her today, that I would have seen you then when I wanted to see you at least one more time, because you said you would come to say goodbye. It's like you're both gone now, as I haven't heard from you since. Every day, at least 20 times, I sort emails from 3 accounts, no, 4, looking for you. Last Tuesday, you weren't on the corner of Swan and Speedway when I shopped for vegetables. The person there was trans too, also had a dog, a fawn boxer, and I wondered where they'd get dog food. In Sprouts, I stood holding a beefsteak tomato that filled my palm, staring at a memory of your dandelion fluff hair wisping in the breeze. How your genderless child hips rocked in the garden dirt, your delicate hands cradling a wriggling horned worm seeping purple blood. You asked me if I thought it was screaming, like worm scream was something only our hearts could hear. I listened for a long time then And then there amongst the organic produce, the Sprouts associate with the aqua hair and envious septum ring brought me back when they asked me if I needed help finding anything. And I shook my head, fairly sure you weren't in the store, and that they could only locate groceries and not lost grown children. How am I doing?
In there.
Okay. This last one's called Much Too Much Too. You cry like a river, like the bubbling Yangtze, the cloudy Seine, the muddy Sevier, where we used to catch huge carp as kids, wade with torn nets, cry climbing through stinging nettles. You laugh like a hyena, like a cackle pack of hyenas, a chitter tribe of monkeys, a bray drove of donkeys, like those we used to game mount with the neighbor kids, giggle ride bareback, laugh tag, you're it. You talk my ears off with your bursting blabber mouth, your metal-capped maw, your file-fanged gobble, silvering the air, unable to shut up, shut off, shut down enough to listen for sweet silent gold. Do you remember how your brother didn't talk until he was over 3 because you wouldn't allow him to say his own name, call to your mother, name his own wonder, answer any of his own questions? You beat that dead horse with your questions, like loading the interrogation, shooting the horse. What did he even know? Feeding the maggots on that horse corpse like that time your favorite pony Sprinkles gorged on alfalfa and bloated, died, rotted with the pestilence. And you, still wondering why. You weigh a metric ton, like that whale you eat one bite at a time, like that elephant in the room, look at you, pointing at the horses and hyenas, riding that goddamn elephant, holding that mirror before our faces, your faces, always a mirror, a book, an open, overdue book. A book about everything, every fucking thing. You fucking want everything. Like if you wait long enough, you'll somehow be good. Just cry, sob, wail already. Just laugh, snicker, guffaw already. Just question, query, cross-examine already. Just eat, gorge, devour already. Just reveal, unveil, lay bare already. Just want more, want it all already. Just ask, darling, what have you got to lose?
And Maryrose Larkin.
So I'm not going to use the mic. For one, there's this problem where I need an entire tech team to make it small enough. But also I've got a big voice. So announcements before I go. Wednesday is now $1 clothing day at the Humane Society thrift store. If you like thrift stores, you can get something like this for $1. It's a 5X, but I'm still enchanted with the print. For your information. I'm putting together my next manuscript, and that means I'm looking at all the things that I've written over the years that I think are absolute crap, and finding that some of them are not, but maybe my standards are just lower. So, but this is a piece from, I did a whole group of poems called Blogging Bach, which turned into another poem called Marrowing, but I was listening to the Bach, I was doing this with somebody else, who's also online, but it was the Bach, the Bach cello concertos, which, no, it was the cello suites, thank you, yeah. And I was listening to all sorts of people, including a really remarkable person who wound up not being a cellist anymore because she got MS. But anyways, there's a bunch of blocks. So this is Bogging Block 2, or Bach Knot, 33 minutes. Harmonics in the lost platform of the sky. Alley dove as bowline. Function X where X equals island or imago. Trailing arrows, the possible or the impossible. A winter other. Here in the coveted where I am velocity, ciphers, and sound. just reading 3 of them. I'm reading them off my phone, which is a bit of an abomination, but. Wings, sun. Growing golden salt. Chimeras dabbled in sulfur and adrenaline. Autumn crocus growing a history with the late winter stuck in my eye. When we all believed in feathers splayed out, pyramids and jaundice, the resistance between now and now, words of all manner and injury, the pain-shaped sun where the wings would join if there were wings. I know it's an imperfect system. I breathe it into all the sentences, the doves flying into the present, the past spinning off the page, a ragged flucker. Here the first, less thought and sorrow and more impeccable azure, more practice under exile to root a ring, a rosy, root the pintails on the tile, root the ribs of the new to my hands. And the last one I'm going to read is, I keep rewriting this poem, it's so annoying. It's called Lavender Pit, and it's about Bisbee's Lavender Pit. It's about the idea that sorry, am I going over, David?
No.
Okay, it's about the idea that if aliens were to look at the lavender pit, perhaps they would think of it as music. Mm-hmm. And also the idea that we should tune the roads so we have this continuous sound experience when driving. Anyways, it's called Lavender Pit. Large stars and tarmac, horizon and now a pit, strata notation of possible music. Against this we unravel. Our thresholds we assemble from caliprite, covaline and love, or V'd sun, striped spikes and imagination running among water. Black as the origination, the germination, a fruit before fruitful, every origin story music. Copper comes to the earth as lightning, copper comes from the 5th red heaven, or they say copper answers to the east, not water. Moments are known as ancient, paper and everything that went on in boundaries and darkness and water's own. Are we the self machines, or are we the present? Roads harmonizing, malachite, sky. Thanks.
And Lauren's going to read 2, so we'll do Lauren in the depth. What's coming up?
Very last minute decision. I am still suffering the sting of my haiku not being chosen for the haiku hike. And I'm trying to, so I'm trying to self-soothe with a little love from open mic. So,
Yeah.
thank you. My name is Laura. 2 very short verse poems. First one, Cerulean. Disco is just overglam punk, which then morphed back to anger. Or was it emo for the privileged? All music is self-righteous to someone. Anger sanitized so white kids in the suburbs will buy it. Make fun all you want, but their check clears. Shut up and sing ignores the inherent protest that is art. What will you be angry at next? Are we all just in search of the next cerulean? See? Because my haiku was rejected. So, coins in the couch. Titles and status quo, hierarchy and status quo, right car, right clothes, right opinion. Best line I've heard in a poem ever is Logan Phillips. I finally learned to ask whose profit margin do I live in? Follow the money, follow the power. Finding coins in the couch is not a lucky day. It's Darwin's survival of the fittest that allows me to buy a cup of coffee, the price of which keeps going up. But the blue-haired Pierce barista is still looking for coins in their couch so they can buy a cup of coffee or pay rent or figure out health care. Is working for Raytheon really a bad thing if you spend your paycheck helping people while the missiles you build kill everyone else? We are killing people just looking for coins in the couch. But since we just blew up their couch, do the coins even matter anymore? Again, what haiku is
Thank you.
Mine too, mine too.
And up
I read
next,
them today.
no worries. Up next, we have Essif.
Hello, my name is Ed. I am also working on a manuscript. It's going to be called Ashtray Ecthesis, or Ecthesis: Ashtray. And the first piece I will share is titled for now Martian Logistics. Post-lapsarian elicitation. Teleencephalon broadcast on congested prolegomena thumbnails. Ad hominem, hominid, omneidi, Bacchian, Fabergé, Nemesine shunt, brief, and numinal oeuvre. Scatterigenous encapsulations of epoch translocate retinal electropositions to tropo-scattered isochronon positing agonal truncations as depressurized agape pivots proprioception to geodetic dixaxias. Diagraphs glimpse of pilfered oracle, their oracles opacified by simulacra fissions, warped phalanx synovia, spy-joined theogonies, born in Eidolon, in the haunted Kuiper locale, the procyon quasar, Ophion cluster, the impulsed annex densities wandering, a tertiary exedra, proximity mirrored in theodicy, sentenced to chiasma distillations, gluon superstitions, discrete ajna syncretisms, sipping tinged metaleptics, Yamaloka nepenthes from ibis begotten goblets, gobleting breadcrumbs of apatheotic nebulas and Aesoptronic soteria. The last piece I will share is called Void Devotion. Amygdalic cogito, conjured zither o tonality, O enigmatic metamerism in ratios of zeroth excess, a digressed gluon aegis absurds encephalic isochasm quarreling for phosphines of rasa enumeration, like prescience precipice predications from psychopomps plummeting through midpoint antipode, like Pentheus postulating prophecies to Parsees far seeing, with their pumice plastered pyroclastic pendulum proteron premonishments, the preternatural pupils, panspermic, panegyrics peak regolith, realized icon of mirrored murals of Oniron Kipus keep Anunnaki arc seconds inside entheogenic theurgies, an ionic decathexis protomorphs impulse to cyberlingual neutrino, converting covert palimpsest secretions to code words. Thank you.
And I think that concludes the open mic for this evening, unless I missed anyone? No? Okay. So I'm David. Hi.
Hi.
I'm going to be reading last. I brought some books if you'd like one. They're on the table by the door up there. It's just a book that was published, I wrote during the pandemic. And yeah, if you'd like, it's a $15 suggested donation to Sonner's Anchorite, which goes really to John to say thank you for letting us use this space. But if you don't have it, don't worry about it. Just grab a book anyway. I'm going to be reading from this manuscript of mine called Ebels, and I hope you enjoy it. So Ebbles, in memory of Mary Ellen Weiss and Betty Lucille Neal, my grandmothers. 1. Wet night, bird song bright, clouds clipped westward, wall, dank shortness overlain, dust diminished, produce aisle smell remains damp, smiling cement and puddle, mirrored brackish reflection, cloud almost green. Seated on a mat, a fire ant approached, moving smoothly in a lacing way, holding a moment's tension. I crushed the ant with my finger, its thorax folded in, before flicking it from mat to slab. Another fire ant approached, moving smoothly in a lacing way, holding a moment's tension. It ran into its other and paused, mandibles to folded thorax. It didn't move for several seconds. When it did, it moved madly, all straight lines and sharp turns. A minute or two later, the ant returned in its smooth and lacing way, and ran into its other again. It paused for less than a second, before madly speeding off again, in straight lines and sharp turns. As I watched the Roomba vacuum the living room, my sandwich mumbles. Lost the starling, an afterimage. Liquid shadow hot, just under surface, dark flowering stone. High strung, finger hum, the face poem trance, scratching eye from eye. The penny part drum, sticking words in, never wholly new. Dusty leaves near pond sing steel outlier, free or elsewhere. I saw the caterpillar fall, fell so slowly, so unfathomably slowly, hit the brick with a little sound. It was green and plump, surrounded by caterpillar shit. I picked it up, held it so it gripped the branch again. It wouldn't. The mid-tone wafts along alabaster boughs, its watery extent, its watery mind. The eagle loom peels, this dotted head, diagonal line and flat hairs. Along the hollow edge, consecration notion glued, pacing and perturbed, pacing and privation, to seal unbarred scape. Windy water piled along gravity's falling arc, all breath and burning song, dusk buried under soil and sea. Pelican dips low, spreading rippled tension, reflected motion along wrinkled edge. Speck, revolving silences mended, pixels, blanched seams saturated, vision, umbral brain remainder. Tap shuffle rhyme, this child ear slips against geometric toe dropping, dithering the habitual din, hymn plucked 2 by 2. Downward flow shuffle stiff leaves, dividing juncture, a half-reflecting face. Flitting sun above, stone sound withdraws. Water spider skips up until pause, a downward drift. Then 3 quick circles along drawn surface. Twin toes bleat riven dactyl, chains of rough lather, tongue read up on midnight trains. A buttered brother flew astride, this squeegee-edged memory, a mind's lacework history. Galvanic cell chimes 1 or 0 as deluxe mother asks what's time. 6 possible synonyms for alphabet. No, disorder, fatality, God, immortal, small potato. A grass fiber life, walls stretched resin to resin. Hook-handed tear tears the 1 and 1. Archers poised. Statue gone binary mazed, not as good as foil hat. The same exposed brick, this thing that shook the knowing looks of birds and ate a priest. Swisher fruit on a stained plate, wrinkled fruit on a stained plate, swisher teeth round the bowl. Desolate within, the chair cage stops, ovals on flowing shoulders, step back. Stars ancestry along wall finger tunnels. Hand hidden, scarlet bounding a moss mow flip, flesh pinned, pressed hide to hide. It's grass, teeming over mountains. Mist-filled crown remembers instants before borrowed light. The letter sound clicks like a June bug against a screen with a soft rolling twang at the end. Dirty nails digging, hoping to perceive. Kafka, ask for God, sometimes yes, sometimes no. If the sky's blue where I'm in, I'd love you. Bush full of water, Texas Ranger blooms during summer. Beside, labored rise and fall, a not quite blistering night with few stars, hand clutching cover to open mouth, tenderness surrounding generic Kachina pattern, mini dream beige and altered, the screen nearly drawn. A Kachina staff blossoms, awakening those beside. These flowers fold outward, cradling you in their blooms. Your ghost was on their breath. Sprinkle mind, exterior colossum and esophageal catch, and hardwood rainbow. Dreamt a terrazzo sea, heaved as a terrazzo floor heaved as a sea, and brass Lazarus wove as Penelope at her loom. An elephant's hood hangs in the yard with a bird's nest a few feet below. Salon said reality must be one. Seems joy must be one also. A fly lands on my thigh, rubs its 4 feet together, and stomps around in circles. Tell me anything but a story. Cracked sky, brushed aluminum pie, and not firecracker crackings. Fallen leaves his feet, birds strung as popcorn on a string, whispering of tar, swelter, and fluorocarbon rainbows. Beating the stretched dog, hearing its no-note beat, losing love's thread amid totality. Not so much gray as the greenest possible blue. Not so much green as the greenest possible gray. The sea is never the same, each moment its own, that today smells ever so slightly of orange peel and old flowers. Daisy at the end of its bloom, cigarette pole and living leaf, fog sublimities. Twined snare looped and unbound, looped around fingers and toenails, around tunneled sinew and freckled musings. Breezes swirl and sway, limbs, colors are red, yellow, and orange ballet, measure ever-changing and bare. Duck soup, pearly and pervasive, cooler and crimson. A craven smudgy dance, its motion mangy under settled sun. Windy, mobile, and versatile, these colors are angry. A craven and bopping orange, hue constant through changing orbits. His personality was indulgence and resolve. The purple edge was cooler, an equivocal dance. Dreamt snow melted into flecks of light and flowed down the Catalinas in great waves. As the first wave neared my home, I grew afraid. It crushed through my body and carried a piece of me away. Each successive wave carried with it another piece until I was gone. When I woke, I didn't believe I was here. Saw someone sweep the beach today. Society's brilliance is it doesn't give a damn about anything worthwhile. Watched a teenager ollie for the first time. Exuberance never died. 2. There is a romance novel called Book Lovers in this cafe and bookstore. The lovers are set back to back, seemingly unaware of each other, as if at any moment they'll discover their counterpart. The man is slouching, almost lounging, while the woman sits up straight with her back nearly 90 degrees to her legs. The books they're reading are small, white, and identical. Peary-eyed, the moss and curtain-limb torch, gleaming wee, a stranded tincture, belted in blue. Entropy stuck-up tune, black key to levered slop. It takes, this ghost with feet, this pompous gesture and old-fashioned grace. Freedom is. A dress plays, yellow pleats, dark pleats and yellow light, and advent within horizon. When asked which Jelly Belly I'd like, I responded, I wish there was a way to know. Sacrifice the impossible, this morning tune. A mind machine steps through its paces. Imago and vortex to cyclonologic. Underneath the sleight of hand, teething rises. This meta note, neck coiled and flightless, weather and weathered logic, inbreathing feathers above marble berm. A defense of poems about flowers. The world is burning, and I write about flowers. It's also Boeing, but no. I write about flowers, about memory and poppy fields, about gathering what is precious in a dying world. I see murder, and the repayment of murder with murder, and the histories of murder, and the grandiose apologies for murder. Yet there is power in flowers, in their precious precarity and insistence to bloom. Bees wave palms, cloudy extent. Saturation and lint, torn, hymn to bleeding edge, pirouette. Poem brine behind a tree, tended by mass. Our eyes are poverty, chiming without favor. Stealing irony away, keys pressing temple to temporary. Small pop and questing kernel catch, exacto blend to feathers to giggly inky tincture taste. Recycled batch weights, eyes lit under hanging ice. Enfolding along liquid edge, clasping twilight, booklet holding a yes-no scheme. You, know you, found hunch in the aortal spring, breathe, your breath in underlight. From a Phoenix billboard, kinsfolk credit union, ditch the woke banks. I wed, webbed birdsong and hula-wold rasp, tin twist, branch over branch, sparrow's flight, newing, expectant perch, precarious routine. God waddles, hip and inked contra to candle, this knees hallowed marching, an inch falls into inch. Pulse, mitotic sprint vouching safe, charcoal hand, fear, intestinal hook fishing, red walls, ends spooled out, colors piled up along I-10. Cloudwork, lapping sheltered season. Lace-wing stickings to thin gum piled, mid-mind a latex, slump-born and rocky. A latening abeyance, pardon held till moot, signet sets eared memory. Hush home and diaphanous constraint, this dogged bright. Spurned yellow and green tints swallows skewed slide. I buy what I am not. I buy not what I buy, not am by I, not by what I am. To live is to loiter. Skiing lily along tarry presences, gathering as sediment now forgotten. Leaky wing pulse too. Raven's eye fruits in summer heat. Dried pit and cooling bray. Terrazzo blinking, ear frictionless. Bell's virile rises over brim. Low morning, sonnet phase to dawn's thin razor. Nascent spooling, petals unbound. Sparrow wears dawn's crown. Ear mind beset by red din up for work. Wool whip topples to mouth, topples to wall between. New day a liver in March-beaked way. A dampening this mixing, shade, glass, pebble hitches a ride. Freedom and merry accord, electric and gone. Yellows gravelly spin, fallen hands compose old fronds to diatom. Thumb prison, well eyes secluded among ants. 3. Heart truce, a rising and falling hope. Almonds and battered seas befriend morning's resident hollow. Marrow, bleeding one into another, rackle among blackbirds. Falling over above willow's wings, twin goldfinches drink morning light. Ant particle scratching between toes, itch curling to interior limb. Eeny, meeny, miny, mobile taps a beat. Dandelion hairs, coffee strands retched from sky to soil. Harrying hammer, this deflated bell binds one to one, an angel's wing to slap fight. Spindle way to doored strands, bolts and matching fiber, lunar dim marching. Wingtip flick and flux and movement and falling soggy edge. Chrome and peaking sheesh scampered a new diction, care long and near in wilting air. Whistling clover, truism and screwy banding, and uneven orange, tulipish and hard. Wood blooms under ink spot, petals unfold to sundry. cabled eardrum, a hip set to twinge, low cycle without gardens, within a mirror's squawk symmetries, rehearsed and bordered, grasping at. Tinsel distance is dander climbing and galvanic, just as immaculate and inarticulate, when waking, must fall between dawnings. Empty in, circle span, spiral fall. Sense remainders, touch felt when gone, world trickles behind, small smiles everywhere. Chirping truce this lodged by yellow birds, lie wakes itself again, a pebble alone, a familiar beside others. Arrow flies backward above. His vomit is sun, blazing on the tile floor, sticky light around our toes. Light steeped in water, sky the shine between and red brick beneath. Shorn pinion along columns beak, its shade a joke on time. Wings, a puppet's take on whirligigs, sheer composition of leaves and tacks. Full lit works rusty bargains without compassion, ears marching, all hinge waiting for collapse. Swirls light deafens monsoon, rolling sheets around, rays beyond count and intermittent purple or green. 9 eyes, stamping each way, tippled in sound, cold jet moving, blown clamor as skipping stone, flourish, smooth seeking, bottomless flourish, stretched figures blowing their fire. Fallen leaves on garden brick, drying, curled, and crunched and tracked everywhere. Unfurling ground, salt brush lines under stark light. Dry basin rising to scattered mesquite copses, then dusty mountains and sky. Submerged, searching for seedlings, adjourned to hear, your eye is an uncoated path, handed each other's along unseen times, outer pop holes dancing. Turnt and rafts tilted, this block then clutch slipping, as moment gives way to moment, wrinkles in stone and many stones accumulation. Precious lies give way to flies this evening. Sharply frail, glass falls into time and gone. Dove wades in low spaces as twins peck fallen seeds from ground. The coos to cool, settled down and unseated, weft to wrinkle, Frisian as dotted hedge. Click wrist, a keen pressure and dip, salvas. Leafy clusters by red bone. Rung stepped under, the bite, a twinge, discreet ray intrudes to trill. Bleached arc and crosshatch wire, heart cushioned as reciprocal petal settles. Trioptic and yellow furl, a wandering sigh, wagged and slid in root. Sprayed of pools, full of gathering what's minor in the damp piles. Lay and call and fiery jag, memories abstract and bundled. Titrating joke, elastic and coarse. If only they could still be children. Beans and mini rows swallowing, kneeling and knelt beside hand, touch. This is, in stamped edge and memory and many ended hymns, leaves steeped in sounds and lives sung and those loved and beautifully adept dances. Moss root harps and evening wet and quivers alongside a lungy and cabaret. Toss me in the open air. Nitrogen cries, hey, steady and asymmetric. Airy blast toppled, a jiggle from high clouds, recollection of fog rolling in, then burning off, and an unalone heart. Gold, small sheen cradling the nun. Some are now leaf-found. Root-held many carnations tidally tumbling pieceward. Drawn pale astride a dock next to tilted shale. Posters down slidden, my pulse small and uneven. Filament rinsed the turn away amid tinsel choosings. Fear, love, chrome dipped, a heart's furtive beating. Silver roadrunner protector, its absent body agate. Too blue, the heartbird cageless, time double-sided, zipping essence. Tweet between seed and shallow. Fall, fostered hallow, sigh sticking. Here and now, feather perched and starward, circle round this bloom, we all fall down. You spoke vacuum and tragedies joking jollily. Your nearness everything, your company always a pace away. Amending, self-willed through. Round the poetry, band the poetry round, we all fall down. Evening wondering, tired certainties please me, if seeing only. Please, you seem a minor god, earth forgotten, but I think of you. Driving thorns and salty waste, rolls across sand's open mouth. Green slopes, sediment stone, white with stripes cut, missing the black tide within like flecked. Mica, sand's testimony, rough and wave-marked half circle. Absence, these stones, red-brown around crystal bodies, where the eater perches, small insect to its mouth shedding its shell. Feet, sun touching earth, beneath stones, beneath boulders. Sand scattered with trees, those shrubs remain. Half a trunk, uprooted and small and covered in grass. Other side great rock, caught in dry twig nets. The eater fled, left dry fragments on stone. The whole shuddered, leaves caught in spider's web. I had not seen the web swaying in dust settling. Orange-black butterfly flew, then remained still, monarch on the sand, opening and closing its wings. Soon gone, I watched it vanish into leaves. Beyond the sand, stony stream flowing and banked shady trees. Shadow falls faintly on water, sunlight filtered by leaf, intermittent bright patches. In the stream a pond stone ringed, bottom shimmer mottled. The monarch returned with its mate, waved sandward, and flew into the trees. Thank you. Well, thank you all for coming to our a little bit lazy Moveable Beast this month. The next Moveable Beast is, I think, April 15th, but I don't have my phone. Yeah. It is the third Wednesday instead of the second. Instead of the second Wednesday. And it should be a great event, so please hope you come back. And thank you so much for being a part of Moveable Beast this evening. See you next time.